Good morning, General. I'm Dan Grazier from the Project on Government Oversight. Earlier this week, you acknowledged that the F-35 cannot perform air combat maneuvers as well as some of the legacy aircraft, and that the F-35 will therefore have to rely on beyond visual range capabilities. I'm interested to know what the Air Force is going to do when political reality set in and the plane is going to have positive identification on an enemy, just like all of us who fought on the ground in Iraq and Afghanistan had to do. And a follow-up question, because that was part of the original requirements for the F-35, is there going to be anything done because Lockheed Martin was not able to deliver on that promise?
F-35. So I do have to do a little correction in that I didn't say it couldn't do air combat maneuvering. I said it wasn't designed necessarily as a close-in maneuvering fighter like the F-22 was, which is an extraordinary close-in fighter. And I referenced F-15s, F-16s back in the day. F-15 was really designed as an air superiority fighter, yet, depending on what the configuration was and what block of the F-16 was, in a visual maneuvering engagement, the F-16 could outmaneuver an F-15. That was a fact of life. One was air superiority, one was multi-role, but it kind of got reversed. So I didn't, and in the case of the F-35, it's not that it can't do it, it's just that it wasn't designed to be a maneuvered airplane. It doesn't have vectored thrust. It wasn't, and it's a single-engine airplane, so it is different. Its ability to, it's what we all learn in flying airplanes and, almost 4,000 hours later of flying a variety of airplanes. You take advantage of the strengths your airplane has and you try to do everything in your power to minimize what it doesn't have. In the F-35, when we turn that airplane loose with the captains, they'll take advantage of the things that are good about it, and they'll try to minimize the shortfalls or the things that aren't as strong in that airplane. I think if you look at the electronic warfare capability, if you look at the LO qualities, if you look at the situational awareness that has, the maneuverability, they'll do everything in their power to put them in a position where they won't have to be in a maneuvering environment with an airplane that's superior to them in maneuvering. It's what the F-16 and F-15s do today and when they fight other airplanes. If you take and I've been doing this for a long time. If you take an F-15 out, and depending on its configuration, you fight against an F-16, or you take a F-16 and you fight against Raphael or Typhoon, you take advantage of the strengths. The Su-30, I got to fly a Su-30 MKI when I was in Pacific out in India, an incredibly maneuvering airplane. That doesn't mean I want it for my Air Force. I think you take the strengths of your airplane and you take advantage of those, and across the board, tactics, techniques, and procedures, the way you employ energy maneuverability to not put yourself in a position where you're going to be at a disadvantage. So that's part of it. And the other thing, I think, when you said that the F-35 will do air superiority role, and it'll do it well. It'll do it exceedingly well because of the other attributes that it has as part of that airplane. If you look at every single airplane that we've had in our history, what comes off the line, if you look at an F-16A, an F-15A, and what we have today, or a brand new A-10 that was designed to take tanks out in the inter-German border, to what we have today, those airplanes continually evolve and they continue to get better. And the F-35, again, in my opinion, is going to be just like that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but... What about the positive identification? Oh, the positive identification. So I think that's a great point. I think... Again, there's things that we look at, and there's things in a different classification level we could get into. But, will there ever be a time where you'll have to put your eyeball on somebody to make sure he's what you think he is? There may well be. There may well be. But we are doing everything in our power. Again, strengths of what the United States brings and what our air power brings. We're doing everything in our power to use everything we can to do situational awareness, which includes combat ID and positive ID on what that adversary is. It's electronic warfare piece, it's electronic identification, it's across the spectrum, it's multispectral capability, it's on-orbit capability that can provide SA. So, there may be, or there may be, exactly who they are and you get most of them, but you get one leaker. And so the potential that's going to happen. The young men and women we put in this airplane will figure out how to take advantage of its strengths and minimize its limitations.